Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Well, this is bullshit already.
My name is Jenny.
I like to joke, guys. I'm open-minded. And I'll give it a go. 8.2 million views. Ooh, and I was told to do this one, but it looked iffy, but I heard it was okay. Let's go. Primitive like, original link to the video, top of the description. Below that, link to the Discord. Click on it, send you right over there. Let's go. Why America is not the greatest country in the world anymore. Harry. Let's go. So this is from a movie.
I'm a sophomore.
I'm guessing the newsroom.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all three of you. Can you say in one sentence or less what... you know what I mean. Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Diversity and opportunity.
Lewis?
Freedom and freedom. So let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
Will?
The New York Jets.
No, I'm going to hold you to an answer on that. What makes America the greatest country in the world?
Well, Lewis and Sharon said it. Diversity and opportunity and freedom and freedom.
I'm not letting you go back to the airport without answering the question.
Who's that?
Well, our Constitution is a masterpiece. James Madison was a genius. The Declaration of Independence is, for me, the single greatest piece of American writing. You don't look satisfied.
One's a set of laws and the other's a declaration of war. I want a human moment from you. What about the people? Why is America
Not the greatest country in the world, Professor. That's my answer.
You're saying...
Yes.
Let's talk about...
Fine. Sharon, the NEA is a loser. Yeah, it accounts for a penny out of our paycheck, but he gets to hit you with it anytime he wants. It doesn't cost money. It costs votes. It costs airtime and column inches. You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose.
If liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always?
Hey, and with a straight face, you're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom?
Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain,
Australia, Belgium has freedom. So 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom.
All right.
And yeah, you, sorority girl,
just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day,
there's some things you should know. And one of them is there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yosemite? Sure used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chest. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars.
acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy. We were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed by great men who were revered. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. America is not the greatest country in the world anymore. Enough?
I'm going to recommend to the...
Go ahead.
Hi.
I got chills from a movie speech. Almost forgot it was a movie at some point. So this is the newsroom. Okay, guys, I did kind of, without editing, cutting it out, trying to explain my thoughts on some of the parts of the video, but I couldn't quite talk, quickly enough and get my thoughts. So I think this is a better way. I'm going to go through to the parts of the video from points he made and make my my comments on those. So the first is this one right here.
That we're the only ones in the world who have freedom. Canada has freedom. Japan.
I think that this idea that is ingrained in America, freedom, like we're so free over here. I think it's a relic from post-World War II, where Europe was devastated by the war. And obviously East Asia was devastated by the war. And so I think there was a real sense after that where like there is just no other country to compare the power and lifestyle, or the power and quality of life that we had in the late 1940s and 50s, maybe early 60s, right? And I think that has carried on into having such a big ego because the World War was never brought to us, right? Our country wasn't destroyed, and after we became so powerful, I think that it's a lot of arrogance. It's just like we're clearly the best country, right? And all of this, and I think we're finally starting to be hit in the face with the fact that whether or not that was true 50 years ago, it's certainly not true anymore. Like you said, names all these countries.
Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy.
And so that's my big thoughts there is. Again, so yeah, those are my thoughts there. Let me pause it here and then go to the next part, okay? Another part right here.
Country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of
I think again. So after we had this big, World War II, hurrah, America, and ever since, it's taken decades to finally be like, oh yeah, we're the best, we're the best, we're the best. Oh my God, we're the best, we're the greatest country, most free. And then when we hear the statistics of today and how far down we are, it's like, yeah, we were awesome after World War II, mainly because of the fact of where we were and weren't destroyed. When I say we were awesome, I mean like we were, awesome was a bad word. We had a much better lifestyle because of the absence of so much war-caused destruction and being so rich at the time. I think we had some crazy, like 60% of the world oil or something. But now we're faced with these facts now, and it's almost like a shell shock of just like, huh. It's like we got so far and like up and high on ourselves after World War II that it's taken this long to be given these statistics and be like, wait, what are you talking about? Where are we the greatest here?
None of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student. But
I think we've become complacent and let that ego boost after the Second World War go to our heads until this time. Does that make sense? Continue on.
Nonetheless, ask what makes us the greatest country in the world. I don't know what the there used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for
Fought for moral reasons. I might have to question him on that. I'm not sure. I think morally suspect decisions have been happening even when we, throughout the United States. But my biggest issue and my biggest agreement of what this actor is saying in this movie, what is his name? Jeff Daniels is saying as his role here, is that I don't get why American youth is so, and I wasn't, when I was in my teens, early 20s, my teens, I was the same way, right? I don't get why we don't have role models that are not people shaking their ass or just being famous for being famous. Or I'm not saying the Kardashians, look, I'm not saying that there's no smarts in how they got their money, but the fact that we look up into all of this stuff is really sort of depressing. And I wish we went back to revering more intellectual people. Yeah, it's just, look, I could really enjoy stuff that isn't very intellectual, and someone could say, how could you enjoy that? So I want to be careful, just because I'm not a fan of, like, certain people that I don't think should really be looked up to, doesn't mean that, I'm not a fan of people that others people would be like, well, how are they intellectual or any better? So I'm not free of guilt in my own problem that I'm trying to point out here. And do I think America is the greatest country in the world? Great is a word that is just, it's so subjective that, do I think it's the great? Would I rather live in the United States than any other country in the world? Yes, I would. One person. But that doesn't mean, like, if someone else says I love my country, I wouldn't be like, no, America's better. But at the same time, I don't like who we look up to.
for moral reasons. We cared about war, fought for moral reasons.
Yeah, I don't know if we always fought for moral reasons.
We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people.
Again, I'm not really sure what he means by that.
Laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people.
Does he mean by that, does he mean like we waged wars against domestic issues rather than waging wars against poor people around the world and poor nations? Or does he mean, because that completely will alter my answer. Because I don't think we treated poor people within our country any better in the past.
We sacrificed, we cared about our neighbors, we put our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chest. We built great big things made ungodly.
Again, never beat our... Now I'm going against. Never beat our chest. What's the whole point of the Teddy Roosevelt, big stick policy? He basically went around Latin America beating our chests. And so...
Godly technological advances explored the universe.
I don't get how we're not doing more. I know we have people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, working, along with NASA itself. But I think we should really, I would love us to focus more on space travel. And another big...
About our neighbors.
I'm sorry, I know this is a very choppy video. It's just, I have a lot to say.
Our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chest. We cared about our neighbors and poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chest. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars, acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy.
It is insane to me. I've almost given up. I have my own political beliefs, but I've kind of looked up, and whenever getting into an argument with someone who has different political beliefs, which I have so much more fun and stimulating conversations with people who disagree with me and who agree, and I always want to make sure to do that. But it seems like we're in an era where there are news stations and media stations for, I'm talking about America, for the Republican Party, and there are news stations for the Democratic Party. And it's just a point-scoring game. And once I realize that, I just can't even... I'm just like, what's the point in arguing and discussing political opinions in this country to get to a common goal or a common understanding, if not agreeing, at least an understanding? You need to not be so afraid of... You need to not be so entrenched. And I just feel like we're in a place where, like, if there's a news source that is, New York Post or Fox News, all they're going to do is ignore stories that are bad for Republicans and promote stories more that are good, and vice versa. And Democratic, like, places like New York Times or Washington Post, akin to, MSNBC, CNN. CNN, I think they're bad, but I don't think they're quite as bad as Fox and MSNBC. But it's just like you have your Democrat news sources and you have your Republican news sources. And all I can see is them playing like they're trying to give everyone the news when all they're doing is acting as a political wing of their preferred party. All right? And since I've noticed that, I cannot talk about politics until that is understood and stopped. Because what is the point of trying to come to an agreement on a political thing with your fellow citizens? What is the point if only thing people are interested in is poo-pooing or unexaggerating, what's the word? Making stuff seem irrelevant or just ignoring it that might be bad for you. But as soon as you see an inkling of evidence of something that might be bad for them, you bring it up and you go. What is the point of arguing or of debating, of conversation, if that's the mindset? I want so bad for people to get out of their sports team like politics and only caring about winning at any cost, and getting back to just, okay, what's right, what's wrong. Let's not look at stories through a lens. Like, it's so easy to play off legitimate journalism, or to play off illegitimate journalism as legitimate journalism, because there are so many stories to pick and choose from that if there is a story that hurts your preferred political party, for MSNBC, that'll be Democrats. For Fox, that'll be Republicans, right? I'm just using those two examples. Then there are so many stories that you can just, well, I'm not going to report that on that. And if anyone asks, well, hey, why aren't you reporting on this? Well, I have to report on this. And so you never have to lie. All you have to do is not report, or report for a second on the stuff that is bad for your team as your Republican and Democrat team. And then this is the sad reality that I have come to, that if I watch TV, or I see like the New York Post, which is a more right-leaning thing, or I see Fox News report something bad about a Republican, then I immediately know it's true, because they wouldn't report it unless they absolutely were incapable of avoiding it. The same goes with, if something's on MSNBC or CNN or New York Times, Washington Post, like the opposite, if I see something reported by them that is bad for Democrats, then I know it's true, because, and only things that are so obvious but are bad for the party you're trying to protect as an organization, are you going to finally report that? And I'm like, the only way they would report that and harm their own party, and yes, I'm saying their own party as in news organizations, because that's really what I believe, is that news organizations are just part of the political parties now. And I'm craving for a more center of the line one, and I can't find it. CNN is the best I can find, but even they're very biased. And so that's the sad reality, that I feel like it's so pointless to continue discussion to get to truth about anything if the person I'm talking to is only going to acknowledge and learn about things that are harmful against the people they want them to be harmful about. I can't stand it. I don't care about my political beliefs anymore. I just want to sit down, point this out to people, and say, this needs to stop. Get out of your sports team corners, all right? Stop thinking every Republican is perfect and every Democrat is evil. Stop thinking every Democrat is perfect, every Republican is evil. Sit down, shove that out of your brain, and let's just get back to normal news. I understand this has been around forever, right? Since there's been media, but there's no way it's been this bad in a long time.
We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't...
I do not care, okay? If you voted for Donald Trump or Brexit, or you voted to stay in the EU, or you voted for Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden, I do not, it does not change an iota how I think of you, okay? And I wish people were more like that. I just, that is your decision. Oops. This fell out. That is your decision. And I'm not so caught up in my beliefs that I'm just going to hate anyone that is against it. Something bad is either going to happen, like civil wars or something like that. I don't know how it would happen, or I just want to cut the crap, okay? Cut the crap, both sides. I think that's my biggest issue. This is a great video. A lot of what he said, it was profound and very good. I know I talked a lot, but I had a lot to say. If you did stick around this long, thank you for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. Be nice in the comments, and I'd love to hear your points of views, rebuttals, answers to any questions I might have had. And I'll see you guys next time.